Yo, how's it going today, man? Today they finally got pay to win babies, bro. Yo, I don't see if that's a problem. I don't see how that's a problem. A pay to win baby? God damn it. Wait, hold on. If I to customize my child, what would I want? Gotta make sure he like 6'1", 6'2", not to like put all my money in him going to the league, but he has to be tall enough to where it's like possible to go to the league. Let me give him my athleticism, just to let him know that he can do any sport possible. Smart. I need a smart child. And other than that, bro, I don't really care. But let's see what's up.
You're at the playground with your 10-year-old child who inherited all the perfect imperfections of their parents, and they want to show you how good they got at passing the monkey bars until, wham! Suddenly a tall, blonde 10-year-old boy with blue eyes and a vague resemblance of Henry Cavill swings by them with ease. To defeat it, you and your child move on to the climbing wall, where they profoundly flaunt their climbing skills they trained over the past few months until they get shoved aside by yet another blonde.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. This is what I'm talking about. I can't be at the park with my child and see another child the same age as my little son, my little daughter, be more advanced than my child. Bro, that just means I got bad semen. You're telling me I have all the nuts I've busted out of all the, all the nuts I've accumulated over my lifetime. But the only one that made it out alive is the one that's not the best. Damn it.
10-year-old with blue eyes and a vague resemblance of Henry Cavill. Must be twins, you mumble to yourself. When you feel someone pull on your jacket, you glance over your shoulder and realize it's another 10-year-old blonde boy with blue eyes and a fake resemblance of Henry Cavill.
You don't belong.
Are you losing your mind? You're now surrounded by blonde 10-year-old Henry Cavill lookalikes, all chanting,
You don't belong. You don't belong.
Is this real? Maybe you're just dreaming about a bunch of 10-year-old boys and you're actually being the creepy one here. But you're not. This is real. You just happen to find yourself inside the rabbit hole of a world with shady companies, illegal human experiments, undercover investigations, and so much more. You happen to find yourself in our world, the terrifying world of designer babies.
How do you like Divvy up how much money goes?
Again, I'm trying to find the problem. How's he gonna be like, what I'm saying? What's the problem here, bro? Everybody wants their kid to be the best possible. And you're telling me I can, pay a little bit of money and I can guarantee my kid got a good future?
These are like big questions.
Genetics. What can it mean? The ability to perfect the physical and mental characteristics of every unborn child.
The world's first genetically edited babies.
The world's first genetically edited babies. First births of genetically altered humans.
But what is a designer baby, you ask? Are you like those children forced by their parents?
I ain't gonna lie. If we're like making people genetically editing people, that's crazy. Genetically editing people or babies, we gotta give them some superpowers. Am I right? You know what I'm saying? Like on some the boys type vibe. You gotta give a kid some heat vision, bro. Like at this point, if we're editing babies, yeah, bro, we need real edits. Someone needs to come out the womb shooting fireballs.
Parents who partake in those weird and creepy contests where little kids are judged on their beauty by a bunch of grown-ups? Like Honey Boo Boo. No. See, what you're thinking of are child beauty pageants.
Yeah,
and I'd
that's
rather scratch my hands out to make a video on that. Designer babies, or genetically modified babies, are babies specifically formed from an embryo that has been genetically modified or selected to have specific traits, such as the absence of a genetic disease. That way you can reduce cancer risks, blood disorders, heart conditions, and that's great. Why wouldn't we want to get rid of diseases millions of people suffer from every year? Well, the problem is that this is just the first half of the definition, while the other half mentions genetic modification to force the presence of desired characteristics like eye color, hair color, height, intelligence, the facial structure like that of Henry Cavill. And suddenly you realize that designer babies might just be yet another stepping stone on our way to dystopian hell. Although usually they say that the way to hell is paved with good intentions, and I'm pretty sure the Silicon Valley demons pushing this only care about paving theirs with increased shareholder value. See, this rabbit hole started a few weeks ago when I stumbled upon this advertisement in the New York subway. IQ is 50% genetic. Height is 80% genetic. Nucleus IVF Plus. Pick your best baby at pickyourbaby.com. Now at first, I thought this to be a parody to...
I ain't gonna lie, bro. The worst case scenario, your kid ends up the exact opposite of what you paid for. That would, oh god, damn, that would suck. Imagine you paid for your kid to be like the next Einstein, but with like the physique and ability of LeBron James. You know what I'm saying? With the looks of goddamn me right now at, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like me right now. And then all of a sudden your kid ends up just being chopped and stupid. God
advertise
damn.
a new season of Black Mirror. I mean, pickyourbaby.com. What's next? A school report card when I can pick the eye color, hair color, and personality traits of my
Whoa,
child?
personality.
Yes, apparently.
Whoa.
Advances in genetic
Pause. I can have a funny kid. Yo, bro. I'm really trying to see like what's wrong here. I can make my kid funny.
testing. Families
Yo.
can not only screen for the likelihood of disease, but also pick embryos based on their expected height and IQ.
See, pickyourbaby.com leads you to what appears to be a subscription service for pregnancy called Nucleus IVF Plus. Now, past year, I've been thinking a lot about what direction the world's currently going in, if I'd even want to bring children into a society that seems to be crumbling around us. And if you would have told me a year ago that in 2025 we were going to turn pregnancy into a subscription service, I would have killed myself. Meet IVF Plus.
I was gonna say, like, making pregnancy a subscription service is crazy work because all it really takes is just like finding the right person and, you know what I'm saying, teaching your kid how to be smart and whatnot. And getting pregnant is easy, apparently. People do it all the time, by accident, actually. Most people do it by accident. Some of you were accidents. Hey.
By Nucleus Genomics, the new way to bring your baby home. You dream about who your child will be, their laugh, their health, their happiness. Now you can see your future child's health, traits, and potential before pregnancy even begins. So apparently Nucleus IVF Plus is a service that privatizes the entire process of IVF, a medical procedure whereby an egg is fertilized by sperm outside the body, even more than it already is. Because why look at people with a desire to become parents and have to resort to IVF as humans when instead you can see them as walking bags of money? And at the core of this service is the option to scan your fertilized eggs once they've grown into embryos for a plethora of traits. And I love how Nucleus Genomics is trying to market IVF Plus around the improved health it could give your future child when they clearly do.
Man, forget that, bro. I want my kid to be the next LeBron James. You feel me? I'm 5'9". And my kid, if I had a kid with the girls I talk to, there's a 50% chance he might be just a little bit taller than me, so 6'1", 6'2". But the only problem is No, I'll actually be talking to athletic girls though. I think I might, and I'm pretty smart if I apply myself. I'm in university, third year. I think I might be good.
Give a shit. They come up with this hypothetical story of a family doing IVF, but cancer runs in their family. You don't want to give your child cancer, do ya? Well, you do? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Also, this is bad marketing. Just tell your kid, like, do you want the next LeBron? Do you want your kid to be the next Einstein? Do you want to make an investment in your child so you can retire when you're 70 and they can take care of you for the rest of your life? Then do this.
With Nucleus IVF Plus, you can scan and pick the embryo with the lowest risk of cancer, which sounds great. But it's pretty hard to take them seriously when right after they show you a first example of an embryo scan, where 4 out of 6 traits chosen to advertise a subscription service are anything but diseases. You want to protect your kid from the horrible condition of having common brown eyes? Why have them suffer red hair disease? You want your kid to have a soul, right? How about IQ? You don't want to bring a little dumbass in this world. Just call 555, there is no God and society is doomed, and get Nucleus IVF Plus now. You gotta add that, like, you can cure terrible diseases, you know. Nobody gives a shit about that. Oh,
yeah.
We're still rolling? Apparently you can, like, prevent cancer or whatever.
LeBron!
Also, you can order a 7-foot giant. These are
Yes.
At the start of every
report cards. It's clearly prioritize superficial traits such as eye color, hair color, height, IQ, sex. Cause that's a great idea. In a world with continuous patterns of discrimination. So maybe that's how Elon Musk got almost all of his kids to be born as boys. And they're not even trying to hide it. I mean, this is the first example they show to users. Then these are more expensive examples on their website. Oh, cool. This one can be ordered based on risk for autism. Can't wait to tell my friends with autism that they're less valuable to society. Breast cancer? Boring. I want my child to be 6'5" blue-eyed trust fund baby. Like a TikTok audio.
trust fund, 6'5", blue eyes.
On this chart, used for marketing purposes, they highlight only appearance traits while also showing how they could reduce risk of ADHD or anxiety. Which, coming from a guy with often paralyzing anxiety and mental health struggles whose girlfriend has been diagnosed with severe ADHD, fuck you. And I think
Man, I'm not trying to, like, discourage anybody's, like, you know what I'm saying, struggles, but it doesn't, like, devalue you. If a parent doesn't want to lower their chance of their kid having to struggle like some people did, I don't see the problem.
people realize how much human creativity and progress was introduced into this world because of these imperfections. You try to edit out ADHD and you lose the chaotic genius of Jim Carrey or Robin Williams, the passion of Ryan Gosling, the hyperfocus that gave us Greta Gerwig's movies, or Einstein's theoretical physics. One of my favorite actors, Emma Stone, has repeatedly said her anxiety was the fuel for her acting. Do I occasionally wish I'd experience anxiety less often? Sure, but I'm also aware that it's an imperfection that makes me human, and without it, I might have never even challenged myself to do YouTube. But they call this optimizing humanity, and I would agree if what they focused on were actual hereditary diseases and serious afflictions. Instead, they're just standardizing us. And it's not like you could make the argument that, well, since now everyone will have access to give their children what is seen as optimal conventional beauty and intelligence, we'll enter a world of social equality. Because this service is so expensive that it'll be most easily exploited by the already rich and
Whoa, within a month? Oh. They running a bag on these rich people, bro. So let me get my calculator, dog. What? Not what, that $10,000 a month? Yo, they got $120 a month of one person, dog. What? Yo, that's crazy.
This service is so expensive that it'll be most easily exploited by the already rich and powerful to ensure that their power only increases throughout their now even more privileged offspring, while everyone else will have to go into debt or depend on winning the genetic lottery. And these companies know that, which is why most of them are offering these services exclusively to wealthy couples, and those who aren't are already abusing the chokehold they have over the average household. For example, a company called Herosite is asking $50,000 for their embryo screening service and is already using that price as leverage to get vulnerable middle-income clients to accept discounts in exchange for sharing.
Nah, bro, it's never this deep, bro. I get it. Like, you want your kid to be good, and I'll be making all these jokes about how, like, Project LeBron, you know, Project Einstein, Project E. Nah, no, it's crazy, bro. When those files drop, bro, you can't. You don't want your kid to be no celebrity at this point. Like, at it. You know what? I want my kid to be regular, bro. You know what I'm saying? Let my kid be regular, bro. Being a celebrity, bro. I was about to say Project Elon, bro. He's on the files.
The private data of all of their future children.
Learn what life might be like for the 11 embryos they've created in 3 rounds of IVF. Herosite charges $50,000 for this report, but gave the Fritzes half off for agreeing to share information about their future kids. But they're doing this because Victoria has type 1 diabetes and is afraid of giving it to her kids.
See, we'll reduce the chance for you to pass on your crippling diabetes, and then you sell your child's soul to the algorithm. Sounds like a fair deal to me. A year ago, Heliospec Genomics was exposed for asking tens of thousands of dollars to screen for what they call naughty traits. What are you scanning for? The chance your child starts an OnlyFans? Traits that everybody wants, such as IQ, sex, height, penis size. And Heliospec CEO Michael Christensen proudly said he envisions a time when lab-grown eggs would allow couples to create embryos on an industrial scale, 1,000 or even 1,000,000, from which then an elite selection could be handpicked. You know, like a tier list factory, but with human life.
I ain't gonna lie. Yo, hold on. I'm not a crazy person, but the tune-in exams with just a bunch of random of your own sperms. I'm not saying it's right, but it would be interesting.
Even speculated that in the future they might scan for personality types, including providing scores for what he calls the dark triad traits, such as Machiavellianism, narcissism, and psychopathy. To prevent them, of course. Rich people are famously known for their stance against narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism. They wouldn't pass it to their children to ensure an iron fist that could continue their family's fortune to grow, because that would be unethical.
Fundamental weakness of Western civilization is empathy.
We're doomed. Of course, when contacted for comment, the company basically said, "What, are you crazy? We would never do any of that." It's only our CEO who believes in that crap. Oh wait, what's that? Heliospec and Herosite are both the same company? They just chose to go by a different name after that expose last year, and somehow that worked? We're so doomed. Now it seems Nucleus Genomics is trying to be a bit more secretive about their pricing and their ultimate goals with IVF Plus, but for just $20, I can call with them. I just need one more thing. Oh, honey! How'd you like to join me into acting like 2 rich US millionaires who want to create the evil Uber child to get more information out of this weird company?
Hello.
Hey.
Hi. Hey.
Hi.
Yeah, so as you can see, we felt pretty awkward. One, because the employees seemed pretty disinterested in us, probably because we didn't look like young US millionaires, but instead like a broke European couple trying to put on their best American accent. But also, I felt kinda guilty filming this employee without consent, so instead of showing the entire call, I'll show you the insider information they shared with some audio clips in between. Which, first of all, pricing is insane. IVF Plus is $10,000 a month? For 4 months? But this does include counseling, DNA tests, advanced embryo screening for rare diseases, and genetic optimization before impregnation. As well as the IVF procedure itself, but there is a cheaper option of only $10,000.
Wait, pause. The embryo's in the woman, right? Because if I need to get a needle stuck up my, you know what I'm saying? I mean, nah, I wouldn't take a needle. All I gotta do is like, what? Rub one out? Wait, no. But then how? No, wait. I'll rub one out. They put it in the jar thingy, freeze it, and then examine it. I don't know.
$1,000 for just 1 month. This of course comes without many of the privilege perks, which they made abundantly clear by constantly reminding us we should really go with the more expensive IVF Plus package.
Another option is Nucleus IVF Plus. For the IVF Plus, I would generally recommend IVF Plus.
We also got an insider look at a more in-depth genetic embryo overview, and oh my god, this was worse than I expected. Firstly, all the traits at the top were purely appearance related. I mean, they had to scroll way down before finally getting to the diseases. And even at things like left-handedness, acne, BMI, it's basically eugenics at this point. I will say that there was legitimately interesting information as well, you know, cancers, heart disease, but then it again got muddied by things like ADHD, autism, anxiety, and IQ stats. We also asked about the accuracy of these results, which they admitted, while some are more accurate, stats like IQ being less accurate since that's more controversial to screen for, thus they had less data to train their algorithm on.
IQ, for example, is a little harder partially because historically people, it's been a little more controversial.
So you're telling me you can make the perfect looking child, but they won't be smart? Nah, bro, it ain't worth it. Because what I'm figuring out is, bro, your brain is everything. If you're smart, you can get by in life. You know what I'm saying? You learn quick. Life is easy for you. But I mean, it also works if you're good looking. But in my case, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be my child, bro. It's gonna be a handsome little person. Handsome,
they're
beautiful.
aware of how controversial this is, but a little bit of ethical concerns ain't gonna stop them. I also asked if they provided any actual gene editing services, which was followed by a long talk about ethics and legal jargon I assumed was drilled in them by a PR team. And then we did a little bit of trolling.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, how about now?
You're muted, I think. Yeah, you might be muted.
How about now?
On our side.
What can I say? I'm a little bit of a menace sometimes. So that was interesting, but I wasn't satisfied with some of their answers, and the little part in the back of my mind still itched. The part that just couldn't believe this was the worst Silicon Valley could come up with. That they would only screen embryos instead of actually editing the genes because of some ethical concerns or legal boundaries. I mean, this is a place where companies like Facebook are based, where AI
I'm gonna keep it a buck. Gene editing is what, illegal? Oh, bro, that's so lame, bro. So you're telling me I couldn't give my kid like super strength? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't give your kid like, I don't know, Michael Jordan type hands so they can hold a basketball. Like, man, bro, that's so lame, man.
Companies are deciding to build data centers, destroying entire towns, all for their own benefit. Where people like Peter Thiel.
So, can I just go now? Huh? Yeah, sure.
Oh, man.
Where people like Peter Thiel pull strings behind the scenes to overthrow democracy and clearly doesn't give a shit about the human race.
You would prefer the human race to endure, right? You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
Yeah?
Yeah, never mind. I ain't gonna lie, the more I speak, the more I hear. I ain't gonna lie, let's not do this. Because he was asked, do you want that human race to like keep going and like endure? He's like, that's a loaded question. What do you
I don't know. I would
This is a long hesitation.
Also, fun fact, apparently he's a huge fan of designer babies, which is why Peter Thiel was one of Nucleus Genomics' first investors. You know, because he so deeply cares about the human race.
Should the human race survive?
And guess what? My itch was right. Because for every morally dubious but still law-abiding company like Nucleus Genomics, there's another one who takes it one step further. Preventive, Bootstrap Bio, Manhattan Genomics, all companies with ties to Peter Thiel, by the way, wanting to look further than genomic screening and instead want to edit an embryo's genes directly right before impregnation. Which is illegal in 75 countries, by the way, including technically the US, Canada, most of Europe.
Why, bro? Come on, let's make some mutants. Come on, bro. I know I said I'm against it. I'm flip-flopping between like if I'm against it or with it. But damn, bro, gene editing is illegal. God damn it. You're telling me you can't give your kid like super speed, bro? Like what? How's that illegal?
China? Not just because of ethical concerns, but because most scientists say that human technology simply isn't advanced enough to do this right now.
Then we have to try. God.
The human genome is 3 billion letters long, so CRISPR, a way used to edit this, can sometimes get confused when it's supposed to find one specific sequence to cut, and instead might cut a similar looking sequence on a different chromosome. You know, you might accidentally delete a tumor suppressor gene while trying to edit height. So, sure, you successfully made your baby tall enough to enter the NBA, but you also gave them leukemia by age 5, so, TikTok, better start.
Nah, I'm not gonna make a joke.
Basketball career the second they leave the womb. Or when you inject CRISPR into an embryo, you wanted to edit every cell. But right now, the technology often only edits some cells, which might result in the edited and unedited cells attacking each other, turning you in what is called a mosaic baby. Imagine trying to dye a white shirt red, but it ends up coming out tie-dyed red and white. And now the red dye turns out to be acid, which is now eating the shirt. And also, the shirt is a human being. In 2018, a scientist in China, He Yang-Kui, I hope I didn't butcher his name, illegally used CRISPR to try make 2 babies, Lulu and Nana, immune to HIV. Now, he argues this was done out of selfless nobility, to prevent their father from passing on his HIV to them. And they say chivalry is dead. But not only was this completely unnecessary because of a routine IVF procedure called sperm washing, which prevents HIV transmission with near 100%.
Man, so you telling me you can wash them, but you can't like edit them a little bit?
Success,
man, we're so
but they later
sensitive.
also found out that the genetic modifications most likely didn't even make them immune, turned them into mosaic babies, and by tampering with the CCR5 gene, crucial for HIV immunity, but also other functions, He Yang-Kui might have inadvertently made them significantly more likely to die from the common flu. But these aren't hindrances to these billionaires, they're games to be hammered out over generations, just bugs to patch. And also literal bugs, because they see common people as nothing more than cockroaches to be experimented on. They don't give a shit that this is banned in half the world. They see it as an opportunity to take a trip on company funds to a country that won't jail them for this, while also using their billions of dollars to lobby their own governments into eventually legalizing it. For example, Preventative, co-funded by Sam Altman, by the way, is looking to conduct their research in the United Arab Emirates, where this is all legal. Which means that if they're quick enough with their grotesque inhumane experiments, they might be just in time to go to allegedly slave-built Mr. Beastland next door. Thanks, Sam. The world's been doing great since your last innovation. Why don't you just take a little break from innovating? For the rest of your life. And even if this technology would already be perfected to a T, would you even want to live in a society able to genetically design every single aspect of a human being? A society that shapes the next generation to their own preference, where parents would have to choose between going into crippling debt for their children before they're even born, or have them be genetically disadvantaged compared to the maximally optimized offspring of people.
My thing is, bruh. Like, if you live in a poor neighborhood or a middle class neighborhood, you ain't got nothing to worry about. It's mostly like the rich kids who are going to be like just getting richer, which they're already going to do, and then that one family that, you know what I'm saying, banks it all on just having one super baby. Man, hopefully they make it out. Like someone plans to have like a Michael Jackson. You feel me? But to me, I don't see a problem. Like, I see the problem like the people are doing it, but trying to make sure your kid is the best kid possible and has the best life. It's like, if it works out, it works out. Cause you feel me? It's like nature versus nurture. You know what I'm saying? Like Goku was I'm spewing, was rambling, but Goku was supposed to be like this violent destroyer of planets, way the savior of Earth and savior of the universes. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because you're born to do something doesn't mean you're gonna stay on that path for the rest of your life.
Like Elon Musk, and he's breeding a whole army of kids, where genetically modified children have to bear the pressure to perform since their parents paid such a hefty price for their existence alone. Actually, doesn't this sound like the perfect plot for a dystopian sci-fi movie? Oh yeah, that's because it is! Cloud Atlas, Brave New World, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, apparently. And my personal favorite, 1997's Gattaca, where in a distant future, the dream of personal achievement and individual autonomy is fully replaced by a ruling class of gene-edited elites called Valids, who take up every desired role in society, with what's left them being given to the genetically inferior natural-born invalids. And no matter how much you study or how long you train, the only thing that matters on your resume or in your dating life is the genetic code in your blood. So basically, they just made discrimination into an official science, like us. See, we're still working on setting up the curriculum for that. And today, that not so far away future seems ever more present, because what most would see as dystopian technology with horrors beyond human comprehension, well, there are a bunch of not so human billionaires who see these nightmares not as cautionary tales, but more like opportunities on how to make more money by making everyone else's.
Cause my thing is, if I were a scientist or a billionaire who wanted to, like, you know what I'm saying, genetically modify people, I'm going straight down the superhero pipeline. I ain't gonna lie, bro. All this trying to make someone smart, rich, that's cool. But if we're able to genetically modify people, let's go straight to mutants, bro. Let's go straight to mutants, bro. Man, let's make a Wolverine. Let's make a real Spider-Man. Let's really, like, they really need to get crazy with it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just go down the superhero pipeline. Yeah, I know it might be terrible for like, the Earth, but superheroes in real life, it may be terrible, but it'd be cool though.
Life worse, because they have to ruin everything. They have to destroy everything for everyone but themselves if it means that they can tighten their grip on society even by just a smidge. Can you tell I'm still angry over the fact that rich people ruin TED Talks? So before this all becomes a reality, can we just grab our pitchforks and our torches and our guillotines and just...
Nah, it's cold outside, bro. It's not that deep.
So they can live in a oligarchy that nobody wants. Thank you.
That was dark, but you know, is what it is.